pretty high, but goes down during the day. Go figure that one out, huh? Oh, sitting outside with the dogs, took them for a walk, doing some work outside, and man, I was just sweating so much. I gotta push water. I think I ran my water out. Oh, my wife got some onions, I think from the charity handout place. She's cooking them, dicing them, freezing them or something. I don't know. She brought yesterday a can. She went to the Arab supermarket. There's several of them. She got a little can of from Brazil of corned beef. To me, corned beef, is either a big slab or it's sliced. Okay, this is all diced up. Looks like spam. This lady was in the house that does our cleaning, and she looked at that and she says, "Oh, you're eating spam?" And I said, "No, it's not spam." She said, "What is it?" I said, "Well, it's I think pastrami or something." She says, "Really?" Because it had a pungent odor. So she says, "What's it say?" So I'm reading the can, and it has Arabic on the can, and stuff. So then I rotate the can, and I see there's some English on the other side, and it's corned beef made in Brazil. Let me get my glare reducing sunglasses on. Not that the sun is bright in here, but the glare is. The glare is bright, so it helps him with the glare. So she bought it, and I was getting hungry, and she was out somewhere or something. I don't know. So I take the. It had a key on it. Remember that when you used to open up with sardines, there was a little tab, and you picked it up, and you had a key with a slot in it, and you turned it. Well, that's how this worked. But you know something? Those old methods where they did that, they were pretty good. They stored the food real good. So I opened it up, and had a lot of white pieces and kind of pink, and what the heck is this? So I started eating it out of the can. I didn't think my wife was gonna eat it, so I'm eating it out of the can, and it kind of tastes odd. It certainly didn't remind me of corned beef, not at all. So it had the texture of a spam type product. So, okay, what, I don't know. I had a couple of teaspoons of it, and I said, okay, I'll nibble away at it as a snack in the fridge and probably eat most of it, and then some of it will go bad, blah, blah, blah. So she asked me how it was, and I said, well, it's okay, it didn't taste like corned beef, And she says, why don't I make you some corned beef hash? And that sounded like a good idea, right? Okay, so she said, well, she got the onions. She also got potatoes for free from the charity place. So she dices the potatoes, but they were rather large cubes. They weren't when you get corned beef hash, you get little mini cubes. This was probably about 5-6 times bigger than the mini cubes, at least. She put it in a frying pan and she fried it up, and then I started eating it. And was it good? Yeah, it was really good. It was like corned beef hash. The only downside was she didn't fry the potatoes to get them brown, because she says they don't do that in corned beef hash, and they don't. But I would have liked it that way. But anyway, I ate a bunch of it, and she made me a big bowl. I think she might have used it all up. I hope she didn't. And she, it was non-kosher, so it was pretty good, right? And it was, corned beef is beef, right? So I ate a bunch of it, and then I was full. So we gave it to the dogs. I said, let's put it in the fridge. She says, no, you never finish it when you put it in the fridge. That's not entirely true. I usually don't finish it, but I usually eat it again anyway. The dogs had a good time with it, the big dogs. And they thought it was great. Then she got me codfish roe, which is pressed. Roe to me means eggs. It's kind of a, what is it called? It's kind of a pink yellow or something. No, not exactly a pink yellow. It's some yellowish color that you rarely would ever see. You know, like a white yellow or something. It's its own color. I don't know any. I never saw a car that color. I never saw clothes that color. I never had a crayon that color. But it's, so how was that? It was, you know, so-so. And then she got some type of liver. What the heck was the liver she got? Duck liver, maybe? I don't know. I didn't eat that yet. I'll try that. It was interesting, you know. Really interesting. I like to get the salmon eggs. You know, they're rounded, orangey color, kind of largish. I like those. When I used to be in the world and had a lot of money, well, not a lot of money like the big ass spots, but I had a lot of money. I used to occasionally buy the real caviar, not the stuff you get in the supermarket, like I just described. And they have another version that's small and black, but that's good too. I used to get the beluga and there's like 8 or 10 different caviars there. When you get into the more expensive ones, they're gray color and dark color, you know. And did I think they were as good as the salmon eggs? No, not even close. I like the salmon eggs better, which were about 1/25 of the price, you know, or 1/50th. Now I never tasted, nor did I ever purchase. I would buy the beluga caviar and the other kinds, but I wouldn't get the real gourmet stuff. I used to go to Neiman Marcus and get it there years ago. And I'd get some kind of crackers and put it on crackers and make a lunch out of it. Yeah, it's okay. But the ones that they buy, you know, like on the super yachts, they buy, you know, tins. And usually they're pretty thick, and it'd be like that or something. They'll spend $3,000 to $10,000 on those things. You know, I never had that. I was getting a tin, a small tin. Maybe I was paying $90 35 years ago, or, you know, $100 or so, maybe $80. I don't know, but nothing like what they get. So I've never tasted their stuff, but they love it. So it's probably much better. But I never had it. That was my little treat for yesterday. I realized buying the beef hot dogs here stinks, because they're, unless the Arabs have some, I have to pursue that. The beef hot dogs are kosher, which means the beef is washed in water, then salted heavily, and the salt sits. Then it's washed again and salted again, and the salt, and it ruins the taste. The taste and the texture of the meat is the pits. You can get kosher, good cuts of meat like a ribeye or something like that, and I can assure you, if you go to an American store and you eat a cut like that, even in a, you know, a place like Fridays or Outback, the taste of that meat, or Carrabba's, let's say, some of those kind of restaurants, and the taste of that steak compared to the kosher steak, the kosher steak is 65-75% crappier tasting, and the texture stinks. And it's based on a lie. The rabbis tell the people that there's a salt covenant, which there is in the Bible, for the food that's being put on the altar and sacrificed, you know, burned. Yes, it's salted. That food is. But you don't salt the food you eat. And you're supposed to let the blood go out, it says, fall out on the dirt. Well, today you would let the blood drip out in the sink or wherever you're doing the slaughters or in the drain or whatever. But you don't salt it, let alone salt it once. They salt it twice and then they wash it. So the rabbis have them ruining the taste of the meat. So they spend their whole life spending a lot of money on the meat to support the rabbis making it kosher. I believe in Israel it packs the price at least 15%, maybe 25, 30%. It's very expensive to do that. And it's the rabbis making merchandise out of the Israelites, and it ruins the meat. And I don't know how many of you like to have a lot of salt on your meat, but I like maybe a little. Really good cooks that make steaks where they'll put them on a grill or even in a frying pan. Those steel frying pans you get, they're pretty cheap. They used to be like cowboy frying pans, stuff like that. Cast iron, I think. We have a complete set of those, every size, shape, and form. Big pots, all the little frying pans. We got them all. And they're very good. And so if you heat them up and you put the steak in there, what a lot of good cooks say is throw butter in there first. Okay? The butter melts and it helps the taste of the steak. So you throw the butter in there and you put the steak in there. But you salt and pepper the steak on each side, not extremely heavily, but salt and pepper, that's for flavor. And the butter. And you do real good like that. Versus, dumping steak sauce and Liam Perrin on there. That you might like the taste of it. I think Liam Perrin's tastes good, and some other steak sauces, A1 I think, tastes good. But why do you want to have a nice steak and hide the flavor? If you can eat a hot dog, yeah, but not steak, so that's why I decided I don't like the beef hot dogs. They're all beef, because they ruin the meat, like kosher, and there's no basis for it in the Bible whatsoever. The whole concept of kosher is non-existent in the Bible. It does not exist. And I'm not talking about Acts 10, doing away with the clean and unclean foods, which is true. I'm talking about if you're going to follow Moses' law, which Acts chapter 10 says you don't have to anymore, but if you were going to, you don't have to kosher the meat. It's a fiction. Okay? It enables them to make merchandise out of the people. That's what it does. So, I think today I'm going to try the liver, and I'm going to try the more of that codfish roe. See how that goes. I'm trying to think if you could make liver with yeah, I think you could take liver. It's like a pate. I think you can mix it with potatoes and onions in a frying pan with some butter and maybe some salt and pepper, and stir it up. And instead of having a corned beef hash, have a pate liver hash. I think it would work. I think that's worth a shot. With this codfish roe, I think you would ruin it. I think it would be an abomination. I mean, not a biblically abominable. I just think it would be taste-wise unpleasant. Okay, a little bit of housekeeping in the chat, and I'm going to leave off the running. Russia did a real heavy attack on Ukraine with some big bombers with missiles, I believe, like non-stop raining missiles down in Kiev. So Putin's getting to be in desperado status here. I think by now he's at wit's end. Hang on a minute, and I'll tell you the biblical thing that's happening to Putin. Okie dokie, we're finished the housekeeping in the chat. All right. So, starting about 1940, probably 47 or so, maybe into 48, Russia started providing Israel's enemies with weapons in the surrounding Arab Muslim nations. And they subsequently kept attacking Israel, you know, with the weapons they got from Russia. This would apply right through 1973. So Russia helped the Arabs kill the Israelites to run them off the land. And that's highly documented. Okay. Airplanes, bombs, guns, everything. And Putin was even breaking the UN arms embargo, which applied to Israel and the Arabs. But Israel had trouble getting the weapons. They couldn't get good weapons. They had to buy junk from Czechoslovakia for the 48 war and refurbish it. But Russia was giving, at the time, pretty decent weapons to the Arab states to attack Israel, which was basically Egypt, Lebanon, Jordan, Syria, and Iraq. Those were the bad ones. In 73, it was Egypt and Syria that attacked Israel on the holiday Yom Kippur, which was a very hard time for Israel, and I'll tell you why. Very few soldiers were on duty. Most of the Israelis got leave and they went home to fast on the holiday and go to synagogue and, you know, observe the holiday. And you don't fast on that holiday, but the rabbis teach them that, which isn't correct. You afflict yourself, which means you search yourself as to how you're dealing with other people in business, your employees, your employer, your neighbors, your friends, your family, your spouse, everybody. How are you dealing with God? That's what the afflict means. So instead of having them examine themselves in the light of the Scriptures and see what they're doing wrong and what they need to do to fix it, they teach them that you fast and all your sins are forgiven for the year, and then you can go back about sinning again. You know, what happens if you die a week after Yom Kippur? You know, they don't talk like that. They don't, you know, it's just absurd, you know, what they teach. So, Israelis were leaving the bases in the military early so they could travel to be home before the evening. They probably left at noon or even earlier. So they could travel and be home earlier. Now, being a very serious day, they would have no cell phones at the time. And I guess a lot of them would unplug the phone and not answer the phone. And the attack came. Tanks rolled in the northern area, like where I am in the Galilee, and the tanks were rolling in from Syria, thousands. They had over 1,000. And they were coming in columns, like 150 at a time. And, you know, Israel had some tanks available and some tank drivers, but much of the country was home. Now, how did they get how did you notify them? Because they wouldn't be answering the phone. And they wouldn't be listening to the radio. Probably nobody had a TV back then, next to nobody. So it took a long time, and it probably took them to the, you know, I would say it probably took, maybe after 8 or 10 hours, they started having some reservists and some military come back. But I think it took them about 18, 24 hours to really get it kicked into gear. And then well into the second day, they had, I think, 80,000 reservists going active, and, you know, we won the war. Against overwhelming odds, but they were using to heavily Russian tanks. So, Russia supplied the enemies of Israel with weapons to kill Israel since 48. Now, they're still doing it with Syria to some extent, giving them anti-missile systems and stuff like that. So, what happens? Russia picks a fight with Ukraine to imperialistically get that land back, right? And what happens? Russia's in a war with Ukraine, and the enemies of Russia start giving weapons to Ukraine to break Russia with. So this is a classical reap what you sow. Russia reap what it sowed, in conjunction with I will curse those that curse you. Russia was cursing Israel by providing the enemies of Israel with advanced weapons. Can you see this? This is easy. This is never taught by the churches. They don't want you to know these things. They want you to think God is finished because, okay? So that's what happened to Russia, and that's why these things are happening to Russia. Russia's going to go down, okay? Like, it's going to be the end of Russia. You're not going to see... Now, Gog and Magog uses words like Gog and Magog and Rosh. It doesn't say Russian Federation, Putin and Shogu, right? Come on, they're not in there. Where are they? They're not there. So, they already had the USSR break up, and they lost a lot of their land, which is again what the nations are doing to Israel, which Russia backs. We lost Gaza, we lost the Sinai Peninsula, they lost Ukraine, and now they're trying to get it back, and they're not doing very well. And they're reaping what they sow. Okay, let's do our praise. There is no God like Jehovah. 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 There is no Messiah like Yeshua. 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 Okay. So I've been telling you for years, Russia is going to go down and not come up. Okay? He picks the believers up, his people 7 times. But when the bad ones go down, it's like taking a vase and dropping it on a concrete floor. What happens? It shatters into pieces, right? And nobody picks it up. That's what happens to them. Now we're in the year of recompenses, and every day I see it getting worse. In Niger, the military that did what's called the junta, or the coup d'etat in French, the junta is probably a Spanish word, maybe, I'm not sure. They took control of the country and they got the president locked up. And surrounding countries are going to meet this week, I think, and discuss going in there and restoring the president, stuff like that. So, they began to get ready to do a criminal trial on the president for treason and stuff like that. And they got him locked up, and the surrounding countries were told that as soon as they start attacking and or invading and attacking, you could attack without invading with missiles and artillery and mortars, but if you got the idea. They're going to take the president and assassinate him. I think they're modeling this on what they did in Romania with Ceausescu, which worked. They had a similar thing. The military was divided. Some were following Ceausescu, who was a heartless dictator, and his wife was really evil. And they grabbed them during the revolution in Romania. It was probably in the 80s, I think, and they captured him and the wife, and they took him in a room in a government building, and 3 or 4 guys conducted a very rapid trial, for him and his wife, and they had some guards outside the room and in the room, and they told the guy there was one or two in the room. They had some kind of machine guns, maybe like Schmeisses, or I don't know what they were. I don't think they were Uzi, something like more like it was as short as, kind of a small machine gun, probably 9mm. Probably had a 30, 40 round clip. They told him if anybody attempts to break down the door, or to get into the room where they were conducting the trial, to immediately spray Kinchescu and the wife with machine gun bullets. Like shoot them 6 or 7 times each, like, brr, 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 right? That stuff is so rarely ever survivable, even if you put somebody on the table in the operating room and have the surgeon standing there getting ready, and you shot him 6 or 7 times through the abdomen, that wouldn't save him. They couldn't get it done. They did that because they knew they had to break the spirit of the resistance. If the resistance didn't have their boy, Kinchescu, they wouldn't be fighting. The idea with them would be to reinstate Kinchescu, and he would reward them. He was an especially bad guy for Romania. He really did not like churchianity, Christians. I don't think he ever encountered any true gospel people giving him tossed salad and enchilada or anything like that. But he was a bad one, and they had the right idea. So they're copying it, or they may be copying some other thing, or they may be getting it out of a playbook, a communist overthrow playbook. I don't know. But they're going to conduct a trial, I'm pretty sure, this week, and it's probably going to last a few hours. It may go a day or 2 or 3, I don't know. And they're going to probably machine gun him, or if anybody attempts, if a war breaks out or something like that. So they're going to go through the motions of saying they conducted a good military tribunal trial, and he was found guilty of murder, sedition, treason, this, that. They'll get 6 or 8 counts against him. And then they'll immediately execute him. They'll take him outside and tie him to a pole against the wall, or just prop him up against the wall and machine gun him. There's talk that when they were machine gunning the wife and Kinchescu and his wife, that they were shooting either him or her or both of them in the legs first to make it real painful for him. He was a murderer. He was a very, very evil person, and he'd been around for a long time. And the wife was running around calling the people her children. She snapped when she was telling, when the soldiers were taking her out to shoot her, she said, "Get your hands off me, who do you think you are?" She went out of reality. She didn't realize that he did, and he ignored her. I don't think he cared for her too much based on the way he acted in their last minutes alive together. I don't think he cared a hoot about her. And they tied him up, and I think they blindfolded him. And I think they used rifles or something. I don't know. They shot him. And they had their hands tied behind the stake, and they just slumped down. It's a pretty fast death. With rifle bullets, it probably didn't feel much of anything. They might have felt something for a half a second, and then they probably would have been in shock because they were getting hit multiple times, rifles. So anyway, they got it in for this president. Now they're not going to just release him because they know what's going to happen is minimally he'll fire all these military officers, but more than likely this is Africa. He'll charge them with treason, sedition, civil unrest, the war, everything else, and give them a summary execution. So they're going to go through with it, I think. Libya flared up again yesterday with fighting. I can't keep track of it all. It's all over the place. The fighting. It's just all over the place. China's in such bad shape with these floods hitting them. What are these floods? The continuing whirlwind of the Lord falling on the head of the wicked until the Lord accomplishes what He's trying to accomplish. So there's so much of that going on. All kinds of harsh weather hitting the United States. We're getting horrible heat waves. Now, our heat wave is still, I would say, a heat wave, but it's not the kind of heat wave that we had unless they changed the weather in the last hour, which they didn't. So we're going to have about 95 degrees today, could be 96. A low of 82, which is bad. We're getting reasonably interesting chances of rain, like in the evening and overnight, 15 and 17%. 2 days ago, we had a little bit of a sprinkle. It didn't do anything. And the weather's more or less going to run like this, they're telling us now. High 90s, maybe we'll go to mid 90s, so there. No end in sight for the whole month. It'll be like this, which is pretty typical, you know. The humidity now is 59%. I think it was in the 80s when I got up early in the morning. I was up before 6. So there's a big difference between 80% and 59%, you know. If it's 80 degrees and the humidity is 80%, it's horrible out there, you know. So, but we're not getting as bad a weather as other countries. Okay, we're not getting that at all. So now we're seeing more floods in Saudi Arabia, in the desert. Floods. I mean, you know, water like, you know, many feet of water running, washing cars away. Floods. And we've been seeing that for perhaps 3 years, or at least 2 years, in Oman, Saudi Arabia, probably Yemen, definitely the UAE, Kuwait for sure, Bahrain and Qatar I don't recall, and a little bit in Jordan, but it happened in Jordan, and I don't know about Iraq. I'm not sure. Okay, so now this is an amazing birth pang that the churches don't teach. Well, you can call it a birth pang, but it's a fulfillment of prophecy, I think, maybe is what I want to point out. Okay? So we go to Isaiah 35, verse 6. We'll go to verse 1. Isaiah 35, verse 1. The wilderness and the solitary place shall be glad. What's the word for glad? It's Hebrew, so we can use the words pretty easily. Rejoicing, glad, rejoicing for them. And the desert shall rejoice and blossom as the rose. We've been seeing this in Saudi Arabia desert. They've had so much hail and hail, what do they call it, tsunamis made out of hail and rain, floods, that it's stuff starting to grow in the desert. Which is amazing. And yesterday they had another amazing flood over there. It shall blossom abundantly and rejoice even with joy and singing. The glory of Lebanon shall be given unto it. the excellency of Carmel and Sharon. They shall see the glory of Jehovah and the excellence of our God. The excellency. The word for that is nadir, splendor, God. Okay. Strengthen you. When it says ye, I'll say you. You, the weak hands, and confirm the feeble knees. Say to them that are of a fearful heart, be strong. Fear not, behold, your God will come with vengeance. Even God with a recompense. Year of recompenses, day of vengeance. Boom! Right there. Silver platter. He will come and save you. Now, the church will tell you, oh yeah, he's going to wrap you up. What kind of load of malarkey is that? Manure makes the flowers grow, and the churches make them overflow. Then the eyes of the blind shall be opened, and the ears of the deaf shall be unstopped. That's Israel, whose eyes were closed, and their ears were stopped up. That's what it's talking about, spiritual stuff. Then shall the lame man leap as a hart, because the Son of Righteousness shall arise with healing in his extremities, and they shall look upon the one whom they have pierced. And when they see Yeshua, they shall have eternal life. They shall jump around like a calf out of the stall. All these other scriptures, they're going to come to pass. Could be a few days, weeks, maybe months, not years. It's not going to be years. No. And the tongue of the dumb. This is physical healing. Now, the lame is not spiritual lameness. It's people that don't walk right, or they walk bent, stooped over, they're feeble, and that kind of thing. Leap is a hart. That's like the calf jumping out of the stall, frolicking around, is what it says. And the tongue of the dumb sing, for in the wilderness shall waters break out. What does break out mean in real interpretation? Because it's pretty close, I think. Let me check Strong's on this. Break, rip open. Yeah, breakout's a pretty okay translation. Breakout and streams in the desert. We're seeing this now. We have been for a while. If he just flooded the place, like a Noah type thing, right? In other words, he gave them, let's say 25 days of downpouring rain, the whole country would be wiped out. The roads would be washed out. The power, it would be a mess. Okay? They'd have water, but, So he's doing it gradually. He knows what he's doing. We don't know. He knows. And he's irrigating the deserts for us. This is Greater Israel, Saudi Arabia. And the parched ground shall become a pool, and the thirsty land springs of water. In the habitation of dragons, probably lizards and stuff, where each lay shall be grass with reeds and rushes. Reeds grow in shallow water like rice, I think. I'm a city boy, but I get the idea that's what that means. This is all year of recompenses stuff, and you're seeing it. Can you dig it? And a highway shall be there, and a way, and it shall be called the way of holiness. And the word for holiness is kadosh. The unclean, the word for unclean is tameh. defiled, the ungodly. The unclean shall not pass over it. So only the believers are going to go through that, on that, or through it, or use it, whatever you want to say. But it shall be for those, the wayfaring men, though fools, shall not err therein. No lion shall be there, nor any ravenous beast shall go up thereon. Does it say go up? I think so. A lot, yeah. Like Aliyah. Yeah, go up. It means to go up. Yeah, I think so. Shall go up thereon. It shall not be found there. But the redeemed, year of redemption. Can you dig it? But the redeemed shall walk there. And the ransomed of Jehovah. We get redeemed without money because we were sold without money, so to speak. The word for this is padah, and it means the rescued, delivered, released, preserved, the believers. And the ransomed of Jehovah shall return. Second Exodus, right? And come to Zion with songs. Oh, they're going to be happy. And everlasting joy. Why is it everlasting joy? Because they got eternal life upon their heads. They shall obtain joy and gladness, and sorrow and sighing shall flee away. Maybe not all of them have eternal life, but they're going to be pretty darn happy. And this is going on now, and you don't see any of the church-type preachers talking about this. They don't want you to know. They think erroneously that what the believers believe is going to come to pass. That's why they dedicate themselves to this phony tribulation of the believers, because they want it to happen. They hate you. They lie to you because they hate you. That's it. Isaiah 43. Let's do that. But now, thus saith Jehovah, that created thee, O Yaakov, or Jacob in English, and he that formed thee, O Israel. Fear not, for I have redeemed thee. Year of redemption, year of recompenses, same year. I have called thee by thy name, thou art mine. Okay? The recompenses happens first, then the redemption. When thou passest through the waters, I will be with thee. And this is a takeoff on Moses, Aaron, and the children of Israel in the Red Sea. I will be with thee, and through the rivers they shall not overflow thee. That means when they cross the river, they're not going to get washed away or drown or something. When thou walkest through the fire, thou shalt not be burned. Now that's the takeoff on what happened with Daniel. Neither shall the flame kindle upon thee. For I am, well, it says, Ani Yehovah, I'm Yehovah, thy God, the Elohim. Ani Yehovah Elohim, Kadosh Yisrael. I'm Yehovah, thy gods, plural, the Holy One of Israel, thy Savior. And the word for Savior is Yesha, like Yeshua. Okay? Thy Savior. It's not Yeshua. but it's the same root word, I guess. I gave Egypt for thy ransom, Ethiopia and Sina for thee. Since thou wast precious in my sight, thou hast been honorable, and I have loved thee. Therefore will I give men for thee, and people for thy life. He's going to be killing our enemies. Fear not, for I am with thee. I will bring thy seed from the east, and gather thee from the west. I will say to the north, give up, and to the south, keep not back, and bring my sons from far, and my daughters from the ends of the earth. And we read it that they bring us on rapid bees and stretchers, carry us, bring us to Israel as an offering to Jehovah. Yeah, I guess you see this in Isaiah 60 through the end of the book of Isaiah. Even everyone that is called by my name, for I have created him for my glory. I have formed him, yea, I have made him. Bring forth the blind people that have eyes. You see, that's the ones the Israelites, he blinded their eyes. And the deaf that have ears. You got it? It's pretty basic, right? Okay. Those that he shut their eyes and stopped up their ears. The veil comes off, and now they got eyes and ears to see and hear. Let all the goyim be gathered together, and let the people be assembled, who among them can declare this and show us former things. Let them bring forth their witnesses, that they may be justified, or let them hear and say, it is truth. You are my witnesses, saith Jehovah, and my servants whom I have chosen, that you may know and believe me and understand that I am he who. Let me see, okay. Before me there was no Elohim. No, it doesn't say that. It says El, God. Before me there was no God. It's a singular. Elohim's plural. El, Elohim. Elohim's plural. El is singular. There was no El formed, neither shall there be after me. I, even I, am Jehovah, and beside me there is no Savior. I have declared and have saved, and I have showed when there was no strange God among you. Therefore you are my witnesses, saith Jehovah, that I am El, that I am God, El. To do that right, you need the true gospel. Yea, before the day was, I am he, and there is none that can deliver out of my hand. I will work, and who shall let it? Thus saith, what does let mean? The word let means turn back. Who's going to turn it around? When he does work, who's going to turn it around? The word for work is ba'al. Not exactly work, it means he does something. He does something, and who's going to reverse it? Or stop it, or interfere with it, whatever. Thus saith Jehovah, and now he's called the Redeemer. Ga'al. Redeemer, year of redemption, right? So it reads, thus saith Jehovah, your Redeemer, Kadosh Yisrael, the Holy One of Israel, For your sake I have sent to Babylon and brought down all their nobles and the Chaldeans, whose cry is in the ships. I am Jehovah Kadosh, the creator of Israel, your king. Thus saith Jehovah, which maketh a way in the sea, and a path in the mighty waters, which bringeth forth the chariot and horse and the army and the power, that they shall lie down together, they shall not rise, they are extinct, they are quenched. Remember you not the former things, neither remember you not the former things, that's the past, neither consider the things of old, pretty much similar. Behold, I will do a new thing now. It shall spring forth. Shall you not know it? See, you need to be aware of these things. This is watch. Okay? I will even make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. There it is, boom, rivers in the desert. It's happening. The beast of the field shall honor me, the dragons and the owls, because I give waters in the wilderness and the rivers in the desert to give drink to my people, my chosen. Bachar, chosen. The elect, chosen. Many are called, but few are chosen. This people have I formed for myself. They shall show forth my praise. That's us. But thou hast not called upon me, O Yaakov, but thou hast been weary of me, O Israel. Thou hast not brought me the small cattle of the burnt offerings, neither hast thou honored me with the sacrifices. I have not caused thee to serve with an offering, nor weary thee with incense. Thou hast brought me no sweet cane with money, neither hast thou filled me with the fat of thy sacrifices. But thou hast made me to serve with thy sins. Thou hast wearied me with thine lawlessness. I, even I, am he that blotteth out thy transgressions for my own sake, and will not remember thy sins. Put me in remembrance, let us plead together. Declare thou that thou mayest be justified. Thy first father has sinned, and thy teachers have transgressed against me. Therefore I have profaned the princes of the sanctuary. This is going back to the older temples. And have given Yaakov to the curse, and Israel to reproaches. Okay. So let me see if I can find that picture of the floods in Saudi Arabia from the other day. Yesterday, I think. I'm pretty sure I could find it. Give me a minute to look for it. While we're on the subject, giant tornado destroys China houses, Powerful wind causes major damages in Jiangsu. This is dated August 13. Today's August 15. Strong convective weather tornadoes occurred in some towns in Dafang District, Yangcheng City, Jiangsu Province. All right. Continuing whirlwind of the Lord, falling on the head of the wicked. Turkey hit 50 degrees centigrade, I believe it was yesterday. That's 122 degrees Fahrenheit. That's rough stuff. Furnace of the Lord. Heat wave. Think furnace of the Lord. That's what I think. Very bad forest fires now in France, in Saint Andre. 13 planes, 3 helicopters, and more than 500 firefighters mobilized. Several thousand people evacuated. The fire is out of control, according to the firefighters. Over 300 hectares have already gone up in flames. 2 fire trucks were burned. This is a rough fire, France. Here's a lightning storm hitting Saudi Arabia. I believe it was yesterday. It's a pretty serious lightning storm. That's continuing whirlwind of the Lord falling on the head of the wicked. Now here comes the flood in Saudi Arabia in the desert from heavy rainfall. That's again the continuing whirlwind of the Lord falling on the head of the wicked. But it also is fulfilling those prophecies I read you from Isaiah, 34, 35, and or 35, whatever it was, and Isaiah 49. So that enough of a flood for you? That's not a toilet overflowing or a sink backing up. That's in the desert. I don't know about you guys, but I'm on Jehovah's team and Yeshua's team. Go, Father Jehovah. Go, Yeshua HaMashiach. Go, go, go. Go. People root for football teams, basketball teams. I root for God. Who are you going to root for? Let me look at the chat and see what's going on. Someone said birth pains off the chart. Well, I don't know if they're off the chart, but they're way the heck up there. All right, let's get back. Got off my page. Okay. Picture the fire in France. More flood footage. In France, a violent storm with hail in the Department of something, I don't know. France, this is, there it is. Continuing whirlwind of the Lord falling on the head of the wicked. In Sweden, they burned another Koran in the public. Further escalation expected. Yeah, I guess so. Trump got another indictment from Georgia or something going on there. I'm not entirely spending a lot of time on that. Above normal hurricane season on now, twice as likely due to late El Nino record ocean temperatures. No, above normal hurricane season now due to continuing whirlwind of the Lord. Go, Father God Jehovah! Somebody's got to cheer for Jehovah and Yeshua HaMashiach, right? Temperatures to soar as massive heat dome builds over central U.S. The hottest weather of the summer so far is likely for many major cities, including Chicago, Minneapolis, Des Moines, Iowa. Tropical moisture could keep extreme heat at bay for one part of the nation's midsection that has been roasting this summer. The furnace of the Lord, possibly. Mount Etna eruption closes Sicily's troubled Catania airport. Okay, that is columns of smoke. Volcanoes or mountains with a hole at the top and the smoke goes up, columns of smoke. It's in the book of Joel, I believe, chapter 2, maybe 3, in there. Floods and landslides in India kill 48. Roads are flooded and homes have been washed away after deadly floods and landslides hits India Himalaya region. Floods is the continuing whirlwind of the Lord falling on the head of the wicked. Go Jehovah! Go Yeshua HaMashiach! Can you see this? Do you see what's going on? There's many, many people that follow the broad and wide path to destruction that think I'm crazy, and I'm a nut, I'm a crazy Jew, I'm the Jew, you can't trust me, and blah, 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 blah. Other people that receive the true gospel and accept it know what's going on, and you should be pretty excited. Nothing's bad's going to happen to you. Changes, if you want to call that bad, I wouldn't. Changes for the better, that's all. That's all. I'm not done. I'm going to keep going here. Nasrallah, the goofball from Hezbollah in Lebanon, says, war with Lebanon would send Israel back to the Stone Age. Wow, what a creative fellow. The Israeli military told him that, and then he goes and says, oh, it's going to happen to you. Gee, what a genius that guy is, huh? Let's read a list of active military personnel or active military strengths in the form of personnel around the world, okay? China, 2.19 million. India, 1.44 million. Those two are about ready to fight with each other. USA, 1.33 million. North Korea, 1.28 million. That's not comforting, is it? But nothing will happen to us. Russia, 1.1 million. Pakistan, 0.65 million. That would be 650,000. South Korea, 0.6 or 600,000. Iran, 0.52, 520,000. Vietnam, 480,000. Egypt, 480. Egypt, 440,000. Turkey, 400,000. Indonesia, 390,000. Brazil, 360,000. Myanmar, 310,000. That's where the list stops. Libya, armed clashes in Ain Zara between Brigade 444 and the deterrence force ongoing. Libyan Emergency Medicine and Support Center, we announced state of general alert, and ambulances are currently headed to Malachi Mall in Ain Zara area after heavy clashes between the Brigade 444 and the deterrence. So that appears to be ruler fighting ruler, a birth pang taking place in Libya. A 100 Marines and sailors ready to ride commercial ships in the Persian Gulf to defend against Iran. The idea is to give them armed security on foreign commercial ships transiting the Strait of Hormuz near Iran because they're going into piracy, boarding ships, taking them away, capturing crew, and whatever they're going to do. So what do I think they're going to do? They're going to put a handful of guys on a ship, maybe 8 or 10. And they can't give them pistols, they'll give them pistols and rifles, but it needs to be more than that. So what they're probably going to have is 50 caliber guns, if not, 20 millimeters are pretty big. Probably 1 or 2 50s, and they'll probably have a handful of shoulder-fired weapons. The advanced versions of an RPG, so to speak, but much more advanced. So they can shoot the boats and blow the boats out of the water before they get a chance to take out the ship. The range of these shoulder-fired weapons will be rather substantial. I imagine they probably can get out a good 2 or 3 miles. I don't think RPGs go that far. Maybe a half a mile or something, and they could blow them out of the water. That's how I figure they're going to do it. They can't bring artillery, that's too big. A 20 millimeter machine gun would be interesting, but that's too big. So I think they're going to use shoulder-fired missiles, so they could bring 12 even, or 24, whatever they need to bring. How well that'll work against the swarm attack of, let's say, 25 or 40 of these go-fast boats is not well. But they could probably get on the radio and call in airstrikes, maybe missile strikes even from a nearby vessel. What's going on is America doesn't want to expose their ships to the go-fast boats because they know the go-fast boats in a swarm attack, especially with drones, will take their destroyers down, blow them up. So they're using this. They're probably banking on Iran not wanting to fire on merchant marine vessels. If they do, then it may cost them some sailors on the boat and lives of the merchant marines on the boat, which is usually not an extensive amount of people, and it would put Iran in a bad light and enable them to do more bad things to Iran in the future if they do things like this. The chairman of Algeria's national construction movement, Algeria must keep its eyes wide open for fear of normalization in the coming days between the neighbor Tunisia and Israel. Anti-Israel, hating Israel. In northeastern Syria, which is where a lot of the oil is in Syria, but if it goes to the east side of the river, then the Euphrates River, then it's not Greater Israel, and that's where most of this is going on. The Iranian militias over there, not the regular army, the militias, have intensified their attack on American bases. At the same time, the Americans are engaging in negotiations with the Iranians regarding a prisoner exchange deal and freeing up seized or sanctioned, grabbed cash in banks or whatever. Will include unfreezing Iranian assets in South Korea worth about $7 billion. Yet there's a recent surge of assaults on American bases by pro-Iranian militias. America puts up with this. So Iran is apparently orchestrating these attacks on American bases. The Biden administration seems to be pretty tolerant to this. I don't understand their logic anymore. Or maybe I don't understand that there's a lack of logic or something. I don't understand why they're behaving this way. A significant explosion rocked the industrial area of Ramat HaSharon in central Israel. The blast sparked a fire and could be heard from over 10 kilometers away. Emergency services high alert in Tel Aviv following an explosion at a chemical factory that belongs to the Israeli military industrial complex. We don't know what this is. Is this terrorism or just something that happened perhaps due to the high heat wave, or I don't know yet. The continuing whirlwind of the Lord. The Typhoon Lan, L-A-N, approaching Honshu, Japan, with winds of 157 kilometers an hour. And they're saying it's a Category 2 hurricane. I differ. No, it could be. It could be a Category 2. It's supposed to make landfall within 24 hours. That's continuing whirlwind of the Lord. This is causing cancellation of air flights and power outages. Already, the heavy rain and strong winds have battered central and western Japan, leading to concerns about flooding and infrastructure damage. Continuing whirlwind of the Lord. Do you see how much of this stuff there is now? Rejoice, lift up your head, your redemption draweth nigh. Go, Father Jehovah, go, Yeshua HaMashiach. An ammunition depot of the Syrian army was detonated inside a military site. I don't know what the deal is with that. a massive oil field was just discovered in Niger. No wonder Russia staged the coup d'etat, huh? Could be. Could be a coincidence. Depends how much you believe in coincidences. I don't believe too much in coincidences. Now we have another wildfire that's massive in Louisiana. Picture coming. That's a biggie. Residents in Sabine Parish, Louisiana, are asked to evacuate immediately. Hang on a minute. Do this again. Okay. The Kim guy in North Korea and Putin are apparently getting closer in their relationship. This morning in Taiwan, they detected 18 Chinese aircraft and 5 Chinese naval vessels around Taiwan. Great to wake up in the morning to that, huh? No, not so great. We got more in Sudan. Armed clashes in Sudan. Sure is enough stuff going on, huh? Wow. I'm not removing. Somebody said something about comments getting removed. I am not removing your comments. There's a filter of several thousand words, bad words, that doesn't let the comments go up. Oh, maybe it's my working. So anyway, you know what's happening in Tel Aviv. So your posts are getting up. If there's some posts that are not coming up, it's probably because I have a word or two in there that hit my word filter. Maybe it's so. Anyway, do you know what's happening in Tel Aviv? Um, I don't know what you're aiming at. Protests, or I don't know. Give me some help on that. I don't know what specifically you're asking me, so if you give me some help with more specificity, I can answer your question. Um, there's nothing unusually extraordinary going on in Tel Aviv. I'll take a gander at the local news right now and make sure something could have popped up in the last hour that I'm not aware of, but we'll cover that right now. Let's go into some news. Oh, come on. Okay. I gotta check my network here because things are trying to load. I'm not seeing them load too good. Let me try something different. Switch networks. I think it made it worse. I'll go back. I don't know why it's doing this, but it's just spinning. I'm not getting refreshing here. Close it down. No, it's this. Oh, it seems to be calming down. Not really. I'm not seeing anything unusual going on. Because if I were at a Russian fuel station that's in Russia, it killed 30. So that's a substantial fire. There were some explosions around this room. We don't know the source of that yet. What happened? If they were incoming missiles or rockets, our radar would have picked it up and we would have got alerts. And there were no alerts going on, so I don't think it was that. Huge fire at Tehran's Grand Bazaar in Iran. No casualties have been reported. Our security forces had a clash with some terrorists in the West Bank, which is pretty much a daily thing. No, I'm not seeing anything unusual in Tel Aviv. Nothing I can pick up. If anybody has questions, you could put them up in the chat, or you could email them to me if you want to ask the question privately. My email address is in the chat, highlighted in yellow, and I'll see it came in, and I'll cover it. But there's a ton of stuff going on. It's hard to keep up with it. I'm pretty sure I'm not getting it all. I don't get a lot of news coverage from Africa and the Asia. I'm going to take a break for a minute, guys. I'll be right back. And if you got questions, fire them away, either by email or in the chat. And I'll be right back. Another reason Saudi Arabia got this flood of the desert is they, just a couple of days before that, started making diplomatic relations with the Palestinian authorities and want to appoint an ambassador from Saudi Arabia in Israel, which is Palestinian Authority. And I don't believe Israel's going to put up with that. So he started doing that to Saudi, and then he got himself this flood in the desert. Sooner or later, I think somebody's going to attack Iran. America, Israel, who knows who, somebody will get them. China is in very, very, very bad shape economically right now. And these latest floods, with having to break dams open and all kinds of other stuff, are really devastating to China. Truly. And they're going to get desperate. Now, all those houses in the West Bank that are mansion size, almost mansion size anyway, that nobody's living in, and that the rich are supporting. Let me check something out real quick. Yeah, UNESCO is part of the UN. It's one of their agencies. It says United Nations Education, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. So I guess giving them money to build houses in the West Bank is designed to make Israel, promote a two-state solution and make them have claims to the land and things like this. Australia just pledged the other day to reinstate the use of the term occupied Palestinian territories, which means they don't believe the Bible. They don't want to believe the Bible. They just want to be heathen. And you notice that Australia is getting ready to fight with China. And Jehovah's watching all these little things now. And it's the year of recompenses, so they're getting a payback in the head. Shot in the head. They have no idea the 2,000 years of punishment in Hosea 6:1 and 2 is up. If it's year recompenses, it's up. Because when you start the recompenses, the nations get destroyed when they keep doing bad stuff to Israel. I mean, basically, we're still sort of kind of turned over to them in a little way because we haven't hit redemption part of it yet, but we will. Same year. You should be pretty happy So the nations that are, quiet, chief, the nations that are rising up against us, which is probably 200 or so, are beginning to get the head handed to them. They will have the head handed to them in the end. The security officials in Israel, military and stuff, told the TV network that Netanyahu is trying to switch the blame to them for the damage to the IDF from the reservists failing to report for duty based on Netanyahu's judicial reform, where he's trying to become a dictator. The military might not do a darn thing if the protesters decide they're going to drag Netanyahu out of office. Physically drag him out. Boy, Trump's really getting his criminal cases stacked up against him, isn't he? Protesters are going to where Netanyahu is vacationing in the Galilee, and they're saying he's not going to have any rest. Nasrallah, the head of the Hezbollah, says Israel will cease to exist if war erupts. Well, let's watch what happens to Hezbollah, huh? Country of Lebanon is already turning against them. No. Let's take a look at the dollar and how it's doing or not doing or whatever. It's not working. What happened? I hit it again. Against the Swiss franc, it's $1.13. A Swiss franc buys $1.13. It's gaining on the Swiss franc. The dollar buys 3.76 Israeli shekels. It's gaining on the shekel. the euro, dollar versus euro. $1.09. It's gaining on the euro. See, 2 or 3 weeks ago they were saying, "Oh, the dollar's going to crash. The dollar's going to crash." And I said, the only time it's going to crash is if there's a major catastrophe, like a huge war or massive volcanoes and hurricanes and everything at the same time. It's not crashing. It's all artificial. It's not going anywhere. Stop, Chief. Dollar versus British pound. The pound buys $1.26. So it's okay. That's about the same. Canadian dollar versus Canadian dollar. 74 cents. Canadian buys 70. Yeah, that's about right. It's staying about the same. It's not dropping down. Chief, tell Yafra, I don't want to hear it, okay? And the Aussie dollar, $0.64. That's about the same. So the dollar's climbing in strength. Spot gold. Crazy. That's what I can't. What happened? I gotta stop it. Something got wrong. Okay, spot. No! $19.07 an ounce. So it's never really gone through that 2,000 barrier yet. Let's look at silver. $22.64 an ounce. It's a little low, I guess. It's not spiking or anything. It's so sad that the church people won't teach what I taught today. They won't teach it. They don't want the people to understand what's really going on. They just don't. They don't want it. Because they're about to get cut off and they know it. And they're going to try to do something to reverse it, which is just going to accelerate their demise, that's all. I mean, we read about streams in the desert, but you don't often see them on the news with videos with the water surging through the desert. Go Yehovah, go Yeshua HaMashiach. I'm looking for other scriptures about this and I'm not finding any. But let me look another minute or two and see what I can find. Maybe there's more. No, I'm not getting anywhere with that. I think we got the two big ones on that. So I'll still take questions if anybody has any. Oh, they got our chat again, huh? Let's bother them and put it all back up there. Nasty slugs. Pray that God punishes these people in such a way that they don't know it's coming from God, but they will not be able to continue what they're doing. Put more entries back up on the chat. Irritate them. Just put anything in there. Keep them irritated. I'll check news again to see if there's anything. I'll check real quick to see if anything's going on in Tel Aviv. The death toll from the blast in Russia's Dagestan rise now to 33 dead. The IDF is investigating a report of an attempted rocket launch from the West Bank. That's something I don't think the Israeli government takes lightly. There was an explosion in a suburb of Damascus early in the morning today, I think 7, 8 o'clock or so in the morning. We don't know what the deal was on that. We don't know. And we had 2 Palestinian gunmen killed during the night, I believe, fighting with the IDF in the West Bank. It's like every day. In Ecuador, another politician was killed 6 days ahead of the vote. Oh, that's a new sport in Ecuador. So there was a blast at an Israeli military industries factory in central Israel, and one fellow was critically injured. That doesn't mean he's dead, it means he's seriously injured. So the fire in France, where they evacuated 3,000 people, is near the border with Spain. So it could go into Spain. So much, so fast, unbelievable. Well, this is what the Lord told us to do, let me find you the scriptures, is to watch. And we have to have some days where we watch, some days we do Bible studies. They vary, okay? Um, let me give you some verses. Psalm 90. A prayer of Moses, the man of Elohim Adonai. So that would be God, plural, Lord. Thou hast been our dwelling place in all generations. Before the mountains were brought forth, or ever thou formed the earth and the world, even from everlasting to everlasting, thou art God. Thou turnest man to destruction, and saith, return you children of men. For 1,000 years in thy sight are but as yesterday, when it is past, and as a watch in the night. Thou hast carried them away as with a flood. They are as asleep in the morning. They are like grass which groweth up. In the morning it flourisheth and groweth up. In the evening it is cut down and withered. For we are consumed by thine anger, and by thy wrath are we troubled. Thou hast set our iniquities before you, our secret sins in the light of thy countenance. For all our days are passed away in thy wrath. We spend our years as a tale that is told. The days of our years are 60 years and 10, that's 70. And if by reason of strength they be 80 years, that's 80. Yet is their strength labor and sorrow, for it is soon cut off, and we fly away. Who knoweth the power of thine anger? Even according to thy fear, so with thy wrath. So teach us to number our days, that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom. Return, O Jehovah, how long, and let it repent thee concerning thy servants, that's Israel. O satisfy us early with thy mercy. Sounds like us praying, that we may rejoice and be glad all our days. Make us glad according to the days wherein thou hast afflicted us, and the years wherein we have seen evil. He gives us a double blessing. You're going to have that real soon. Let thy work appear unto thy servants, and thy glory unto their children, and let the beauty of the Lord our God be upon us. And establish thou the work of our hands upon us. Yea, the work of our hands establish thou it. Okay. Psalm 121, 7-8. The Lord will keep you from all harm. He will watch over your life. Jehovah will watch over your coming and going, both now and forevermore. Second John 1:8. Watch out that you do not lose what we have worked for, but that you may be rewarded fully. So you can't fall away. Unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain. Unless the Lord watches over the city, the guards stand watch in vain. And that, I'd say, would apply also to building a country based on being despots and the powers of the air and stuff that don't last. I urge you, brothers and sisters, to watch for those who cause divisions, that's denominations, and put obstacles in your way that are contrary to the teaching you have learned. Keep away from them. Don't sit under them. Keep away from them. The eyes of the Lord are on the righteous, and his ears are attentive to their cry. Psalm 91. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of Jehovah, he is my refuge, my fortress, my God, in him will I trust. Surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust his truth, which is the true gospel, not the church gospel. That's not the truth. The word should be emet, yet is truth. Shall be thy shield and thy buckler. The truth will use the shield, and the buckler is a small shield, to protect you from the darts of the enemy, which are the evil thoughts that try to destroy your faith. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. It's the type of stuff you're going to see soon this year. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. Because thou hast made Jehovah, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thee. Neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. No evil shall befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. See, the days of the punishment are over if the recompense is here. The redemption didn't kick in yet, but it's changed, guys. It's changed. Rejoice. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against the stone. That's the angels. Thou shalt tread upon the lion and the adder, the young lion and the dragon shall thou trample under feet. Because he hath set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. I will set him, the believers, I will set him on high, because he hath known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. Beautiful, huh? Okay, I think I've accomplished what I set out to for today. Do I have any prayer requests, which is important, especially to the people who put the request in? I do not see any prayer requests or thoughts requests or anything like that. Okay. So I'm Moshe, my wife is Rivka. Please pray for us for peace, joy, happiness, satisfaction, safety, and protection. Pray for our animals and pets, which are all rescues, to be happy, healthy, and whole. The new cockatoo bird's really getting on pretty good. He likes it here. And pray for better videos. Pray for our finances and our health, please. Pray for the Lord to make our way easy. We're both old and we have trouble and stuff, so pray he makes our way easy, please. And pray for the peace of Jerusalem. And I think I did a pretty okay job today. You should be getting something out of this, I hope. If not, you can always write me and kind of tell me stuff or ask me stuff, and I'll try to put a fix in. And that's it. So I send my shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach and Jehovah, Father God Jehovah, and stay strong, watch, pray, read the Word, and do spiritual warfare. Make sure you pray every day. Make sure you read the Word every day, even if you just read, 100 words or 50 words, just every day. And spiritual warfare will help build your faith up.